All right, I'm gonna go on a limb here, and I'm gonna say the idea of remote work kind of appealing to you. If you're watching this video, chances are you're someone who's interested in working remotely, a work from home job, becoming a remote worker, whatever. And all of a sudden, with the crazy events that have happened in the world over the last few months, that idea of, becoming a remote worker, all of a sudden might just seem a little bit more attainable. So I talk a lot about the best ways to become a digital nomad, the best ways to work remotely, work from home, work while you're traveling, all those things. Freelance writing, that's great, but it's not the best way to get started. Blogging, affiliate marketing, not the best way to get started. E-commerce, start an e-commerce store, not the best way to start remote working. The good news is the chances are the best way to actually become a remote worker is, well, something that you're already doing. It's your current job. And all of a sudden, right now, in the times that we're in now, millions of companies are now more open to the idea of having remote employees than ever. So this video is all about the reasons why you should consider potentially throwing out a remote work agreement to your employer, and rather than quitting your job and starting your own thing, to maybe just leverage the thing you've already got and give yourself a little bit more freedom. So that's what we're gonna talk about. Intro. All right, I'm gonna start this out by saying there has literally never been a better time in history to think about working remotely than right now, right this second, right at the very instance you are watching this video. It is the absolute best time in history to start working remotely. 10 years ago, actually 11 years ago, that was not the case. So before we go into all the reasons why it's such a good time now, let me tell you a little story. Let me sit down by the campfire, and I'm gonna tell you my remote work story. So back the last time we had a major financial catastrophe, the Great Recession, 2008, 2009, I was working in finance. It was my first day job. I was super excited for the suit and tie and have the whole thing until I actually started the job with the suit and tie and the office and the whole thing and the 9 to 5. It's actually 7:30 to 5, but that's besides the point. Wasn't for me. And to make matters worse, we were in the middle of this recession. I was in the finance industry, so we saw the market go from 14,000 all the way down to 6,500. I was unhappy. Our clients were unhappy. My bosses were unhappy. And frankly, the business wasn't doing all that well. You see, when I graduated college, I had a 3-month backpacking trip through Europe that was all planned out. It was going to be with 3 of my best friends. We were going to have a blast. Problem was, I got the job in finance. So my 3-month trip, it got cut down to 2.5 weeks. So I never really got to have the travel experience I wanted. Save for February of 2009, about 2 years after I started the job, I saved up all my vacation days, went to Rio for Carnival, went down there with my best friend, we went hang gliding over the city, we went to Iguazu Falls, one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, we danced in the Carnival parade. I mean, it was the time of my life. It was actually that trip that inspired me to start Location Rebel and set the scene for everything we're doing now. And the day I got back, my boss was like, I can't wait to hear about your trip. I can't wait to see your photos. But before we get into that, just want to let you know, your paycheck, it's going to be about 20% lighter next month. And the month after that, I never actually got my pay reinstated in that job. It was basically like either we all take a 20% pay cut or someone gets fired. And for a company with 4 people, you can guess who the person on the chopping block was. This guy. So a month or two after that, this is an important story. This is all relevant, by the way. So a month or two after that, boss came to me and said, hey, Sean, if you can think of any creative ways to save the company money, I'd love to hear about it. Looking for unique ideas. The business wasn't doing great at the time. So me, thinking I was the smartest guy in the world, which I really still think this was a great idea. I told my boss, I said, hey, boss, I'll tell you what. And I did it a little bit more professionally than this. I put together a whole proposal. We had a whole meeting about this. I said, I'll tell you what, I will take a 50% pay cut if you let me work remotely from Hawaii on a trial basis for 3 months. We're going to save the company money. We're going to make the company more secure as we figure out how to be able to work remotely. We're going to open us up to a new client base we wouldn't have otherwise. You're not going to have to pay for my parking and things like that. You could bring someone else into the office if you wanted and, have another worker. There's all sorts of options. And the reason I was doing this is my friend Ryan, the guy that I went to Brazil with, he quit his job 3 weeks after that trip, moved to Hawaii, was living the life, was getting ready to take a global trip January the following year, and was just hanging out in Hawaii, biding his time, working as like a cabana boy at a hotel to pay the rent. It sounded great to me at the time. So over the course of a month, we had a bunch of meetings. I really truly thought that this was going to work. Until my boss came to the office, said, "Hey, Sean, let's set up a meeting. We want to talk about your proposal." And I quote, "Sean, we've decided not to accept your proposal, but we will accept this as your resignation." Huh? You can imagine my surprise when this happened, because I was trying to get creative, trying to think outside the box, trying to give myself a little adventure, trying to help the business, trying to save them some money. They didn't see it that way. No, they said, "You're out of here." And over the course of the next few days, I had an opportunity to save my job, but I decided, you know what? It's best for everybody. We're going to take off. And then a couple months later, I ended up moving to Thailand. Location Rebel took off. The rest is history. But I still think that remote work proposal could have been a fantastic thing for everybody involved. And my life would have turned out very differently had they accepted it. But here's the thing. That was 11 years ago. And this was a company with only 4 people. So there would have been some challenges. But right now, literally, like last week, Twitter announced that all of their employees, any employee, can work remotely indefinitely for as long as they want, forever. They don't have to come back to a physical office. When a company as big as Twitter is doing that, like I think recently some other very large companies, they said, we're not going to be back in the office until January. My wife, who works for a large Fortune 500 company, has been working remotely, and it's looking like she was always in this point where I could never do my job remotely. It'll never happen. And now they're talking about making this a long-term thing. So it's opened up all kinds of opportunities. So this was a long-winded way of saying, if you're looking or interested in potentially working remotely, there has never been a better time. And here are 5 reasons why it's never been a better time. And I honestly think you should give this a little bit of thought, because even though you've always been like, I can never do this, this will never work for me, the world has changed. The world is changing as we speak. The world has changed since you started watching this video 5 or 6 minutes ago. And where there's change, there's opportunity. So here's 5 reasons why you should put more serious thought into becoming a remote worker. Okay, first thing, and this is kind of an obvious one, we kind of just touched on this a little bit, but right now, more companies than ever are open to the idea of remote work. While you are probably already working remotely, you can start putting things in place to make this a longer term thing and give you more flexibility. So if instead of just working from your house, maybe you want to work from Bali or Playa del Carmen or Hawaii or wherever. And when you are doing this over a longer period of time, that gives you options. Setting this up now and talking to your bosses now is the time to do it. Like I said, everything's changing. 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, things could be a little bit back to normal. Chances are they're still going to be more open to this idea, or frankly, your whole company could be working remotely then. But it's better for you to start planning this now while these companies are in the mindset of, hey, maybe this is a thing. Maybe we can do this. Maybe this will be better for our employees and save us money on the process. This is why you should be thinking about becoming a remote worker right now. Second, technology is now at a point where it's super feasible. I mean, how many Zoom calls have you been on in the last week? 17, 18, 27? With the tools out there for video conferencing, for collaboration, for project management, there are so many resources out there to be able to manage projects via remote teams. Slack is another great one for communication. So the chances are your company's already using some of these tools that would allow you to work remotely that just weren't around, or at least weren't widely used like 10 years ago when I was trying to convince my boss to allow me to do this. So think about some of the tools that you could leverage, especially if you're in a smaller business. What are some things you can maybe introduce to the business to say, hey, this is not only going to make our lives easier, it's going to make project management better, and it has the potential to make it feasible for you to continue to work remotely. So technology is a big reason why all of a sudden this is possible. All right, the third reason right now you should be thinking about becoming a remote worker is because it will make you a better worker. In all my experience and all the people I've talked to that have done this, what ends up happening is, maybe not in the last 2 months because this is kind of a forced situation. Everyone has to work from home as opposed to getting to work from home. But generally speaking, it forces you to become a better worker because you look at this as an opportunity. It's a privilege. You're adding freedom and flexibility to your life. So what are you going to do? You're going to work your ass off to make sure that you continue to get to have this privilege. So you often end up working more and putting out better work than you would if you were in the office. But that's totally worth it because you're going to get more opportunities to get promotions, to show off and shine at your job, and have the freedom and flexibility to do more of the things you like to do, which is what's so great about being a digital nomad, about being location independent, and about being able to work from anywhere you want. Which brings us to number 4, which is you can work wherever you want. If you want to work in your basement like this, great. I got my laptop right here. Boom, I can work. If I want to hop on an airplane and work on said airplane, I can do that. If I want to go to a fancy hotel in Asia and work from a resort in Bali, I can do that. If I want to work from the golf course, I can do that. If I want to work from a beach, I can do that too. You can work from anywhere. As long as, if you're doing the whole Asia thing in time zones, you got to think about time zones and all that kind of stuff. But honestly, the freedom and the flexibility to work from wherever you are is a really, really powerful thing. So all these constraints you had, maybe you live in San Francisco and work for a tech company. Think about all these people that work for Twitter, making 6-figure salaries. They have a $4,000 rent in San Francisco. Now they can work remotely. Imagine being able to go down to Mexico in a resort town, pay a fraction of that for a place 3 times the size, and have the lifestyle to go along with the work. That's a really powerful thing. And as someone who is typically spends 3 to 4 months out of the year working from the road and working from other places, that's really valuable to not have to go into the office. If you're not feeling great, you don't have to get ready. You can just throw on your sweatpants, work in your home office, dining room table. It's a powerful thing. And if you haven't thought about how nice it would be to be able to work from anywhere, think about it right now. Just pretty nice. And finally, the 5th reason you should consider potentially putting out a remote work agreement to your employer is it gives you more free time to work on your side hustle. So maybe you've been wanting to start a freelance writing business, but you haven't been able to find the time between commutes and office politics and all that kind of stuff. Well, if you're working from home, then it's a lot easier to shift gears, work on things when you're motivated, work a little bit on your real job, then a little bit on your business and go back and forth. That free time, maybe you wanted to start a blog, maybe you want to start a membership site or start affiliate marketing or build an e-commerce store. When you work remotely, you have way more flexibility to work on multiple things at once. So if you're in your day job, you probably have people that are maybe monitoring your computer. And if they see that you're spending an hour a day working on something else, then that's not going to go over very well. But if you're working remotely, you could probably spend an extra hour or 2 a day working on your own thing without missing a beat for your regular job. So that's setting yourself up for the future. That's building an asset. That's allowing you to work on something you're excited about. It allows you to work on something that's going to help you build the skills to continue to be an entrepreneur and do more stuff online. And again, that's a pretty powerful thing. So those are 5 of the reasons why I think that now is the time. If you've ever been thinking about becoming a remote worker, if you've been thinking about quitting your job and starting a freelance writing business or starting a blog or becoming a digital nomad or doing any of the things that we teach in Location Rebel, that's great. That's cool. But you might be better off negotiating something with your current employer so that you can ease into that digital nomad lifestyle with a real job. In fact, many of our most successful Location Rebel Academy members have gone this route or some variation of it. A lot of times they leave their job, they start their own thing, they build some skills, and then they find a better paying remote job. So a lot of these people are making upwards of 6 figures working for someone else, but they can work wherever they want. And it's the thing that nobody talks about. Everyone's like, you got to quit your job, you got to become an entrepreneur. The reality is, becoming an entrepreneur is not right for most people. Whereas you can oftentimes continue to do what you're doing now and just do it someplace else for the same company. I fully understand this isn't going to work for everybody. There are certain professions where you just have to be there. If you're a firefighter, well, you kind of have to be where the fires are. So I understand this isn't a perfect fit for everybody. But I think that over the course of the next couple of years, we are going to see a huge surge in the number of permanent remote workers and the number of permanent digital nomads. I'm going to do a video about that sometime soon. But I just want to get the wheels turning a little bit, get you thinking about the possibility of remote work and kind of saying, hey, maybe this could be a thing. Maybe this could be more of a long-term solution rather than a short-term stopgap that you were forced into. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, then check out Location Rebel Academy. We have a whole blueprint teaching you how to build a remote work agreement and how to submit a proposal to your boss and how to actually make all of these things happen. But if not, that's cool too. We got new videos every Monday and Thursday. So if you want to build a small business that allows you to work from anywhere, become a digital nomad, be location independent, do more of the things you love to do in life, well, that's what we're all about here at Location Rebel. So make sure to hit subscribe, hit that notification bell, and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Also, we got a 3-video playlist, so if you're not sure what you want to start, but you know you want to start something, watch that. I have a feeling that's going to help you figure out what the right business is for you. And with that, I hope you have a fantastic day, and we'll see you soon. Take it easy. Peace.